Welcome.
Welcome.
I'm Rob Glanzman.
And I'm Bill Miller. I can't remember my own name. And this is
WILLPOWER
and Robbery.
Yeah, should we revisit the alcohol episode?
Yeah. Well, you know what? We're not working. We're working, but we're not in the studio.
Cheers.
So cheers.
Oh, good stuff. So, continuation from last week. We're finally going to get into the chorus of Be Near Me and the second verse.
Yes, and don't forget, the whole entire song is up. So it's in the notes under our YouTube video, and you'll be able to listen to the entire song so you can follow along with what we're doing here, because sometimes it might not be as easy to hear.
Right. Yeah, definitely do that. And then definitely, you know what? Listen to the whole song, and then, you know, as we dribble these out, you know, once a week to you guys, you know, see if you can pick apart the things that we've talked about
right.
before we actually get into the surgical version of this, right? Which I think is really going to be kind of eye-opening, at least for those of you that may have not done this before.
Yeah, because I think when we start to get into the tracks and things, there's a lot of things you'll be able to see. Visually, you may not be able to see it now because we're talking, but I mean, you'll understand exactly what we mean when we're going through it that way. So.
Yep. So I'm going to fire up the beginning, the end of the first verse, and then into the first chorus, and then let's give it a listen, and listen for the changes, and really listen to how different this is from the original.
Yeah, because this is which verse is this, the second?
This is the first chorus.
The first chorus? Yeah, yeah.
This is as different as it gets from an original.
This is the change.
Yes. Oh, it's like a pre-chorus? Oh, it's still a verse? My bad.
This is
Right, okay. Alright. Back up there. So quick correction, right? There was two verses back to back. I ended it right where we left off the last time. That went into it's been so long, right? Even I noticed how different that first and second verse was musically. Not necessarily vocally, right?
Musically, yeah, it was a little bit different from...
I mean, it was totally different, right? I mean, we can do it again, but you know, that is the type of thing that we're talking about where repetition, just you know, there's no reason to keep it the same, especially in this domain.
Well, and I think in songs, and I think for almost any song, there should be some sort of a change between the first verse and the second verse, whether that is you are singing a little different or the music is a little different. But it's always got to build, no matter what. It's got to build into something, because it's got to build, it's got to go to a climax, and then it's got to, like, I guess, explode. And in this case, by keeping it the exact same, it makes it a little boring. Maybe not worth
absolutely.
listening to.
That's exactly the word I would use.
Boring?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I reserve judgment to say that because
that's true.
There's two ways to look at it, right? It is a dance song, so you're thinking about people dancing to this, and at the end of the day, the beat is important. But if you're listening to this, because it is a cover, yeah, I think that it is boring if you just do it over and over and over again.
And true, I mean, even dancing, you know, because I go out dancing a lot. When you're dancing, you kind of got that adrenaline rush from the song. If you like the song, but when it switches into something else, that gives you a little bit of momentum to.
And you're expecting that.
You're expecting. So
Sure.
if it doesn't, it kind of peters out. And as
Right.
far as listening to it, it's just you already like the song if you're listening to it and you like it. You like the song and it's playing. When something else is added on top of that, it's like, oh wow, I can hear this, especially in a cover, because it's not something that was present in the original. So to hear something different and to hear what you actually kind of.
Well, what's cool is you can still sing along to it if you know it, right? Because we didn't destroy it that much, right? I mean, we destroy it. We didn't bastardize it, right? No, it's respectful to the original, right? At least from our point of view, right? So verse construction, I think paramount in terms of what we did for this is we really tried to make it, even subtly different is enough. Right, and we'll show you, right, as we're going to do with this episode, when we get into the third verse, then the harmonies kick in. Now, I don't know if is that true to the original, the way it worked, or do you remember?
So I don't even think there were harmonies.
There weren't any harmonies at all.
Not like that. I think if there were anything, he may have doubled his vocal. Okay. Which is, but for me, I like harmonies, and the reason I like harmonies is because I have such a low voice. So with that
you also have perfect pitch, which makes them very easy.
But with singing with such a low voice and having a pitch, it's almost to me sometimes like I'm not trying. Right. So I need to do something to elevate that. So with the low voice, I think that a harmony always just elevates the sound. Sure. And so this is why I felt it.
I remember even doubling your vocals was what we considered enough of a change sometimes. Because, because that, and what we mean by that, just terminology-wise, is just Billy doing the same exact vocal twice in the same pitch, which really fattens it up. And technology allowed, like I could do that, no problem, with some kind of a plug-in, right, which basically puts subtle variations in either vocals or music. But
and also with the vocals, even if you do them double, I think you're also able to, and I'm correct me if I'm saying this right, is slow down the vocal, the best way I can think of it, slow down the vocal maybe a millisecond. So it's in the same time, but it almost makes it sound like two people are singing.
That's kind of like a chorus effect, right? Where it detunes and slowly, we're talking about, it's called fattening, right? You could definitely hear that. But that just happens naturally for a singer by artifact of you can't do it exactly the same way twice, right? Well, okay. I'm sorry. Except for this one, I stand corrected. But even with Billy's mechanized robotic delivery of his vocals, there is enough variance there that when you play them side by side, it adds some flavor to it, right? Now, I'm sure there's different views on this. If you're paying for studio time, it might not be worth the time to redo a track for vocals to double them. Because if you think about it, you might not get it right the second time. It might take you a few takes to get it right the second time.
Well, I think at least I think in the chorus.
Okay.
Because it's something that's repetitious. Yeah. You should try, even if you don't use it. You should probably do a second take of your chorus.
And that's a good point, right? Just because you like one take versus another, that doesn't mean you can't use the one you didn't necessarily like too much as the secondary. Right? I guess. Because it varies in the back. I mean, that would not fly here, right? I mean, there's no skimming the top. You got to have it perfect for both takes. But the point is, time is of the essence. You can't ignore that. And we're definitely receptive to that fact. So, anything else you wanted to say about that before I pick another quick topic on this one? Okay, so we talked about mixing it up. You heard the transition into the chorus starting. So let's talk about building tension, right? So now that first and second chorus definitely did not feel the same from a tension point of view, right? The second one was definitely a lot more urgent, a lot more in your face.
So singing the first chorus versus the second chorus, I tried to sing the chorus where it was very light the first time. Sure. It should have been very light. It was Wasn't supposed to be too much different than the impact of the first verse.
Right.
So it's very, very nice. And so when you get to the second chorus, then it had to put some meat behind it.
Yep.
Aside from the music changing as well, I felt build up the second chorus and make it stronger. So,
should we listen to that again?
I think so, because
you know what comes to mind? You know, well, my amp goes to 11, right? You know, it's basically, you know, the purpose of what we're doing here is to build up to a climax.
Right.
And arguably in this song, I think out of all the songs on this album, this has the greatest climax of any song. You know, which we'll get to. But so let's revisit that. I think that's worth hearing again. So this is the first verse.
now we're going into
Now you can definitely hear your voice change. And
oh yeah, Mike. Joe Brown talking about that.
right. Harmony.
Right. And there's also this different
Inflections. Yeah, and you're wavering a little bit. Now, two things there that just comes to mind. One is you did stick a harmony in there, right?
Exactly.
A subtle one, but it was in there.
And
right?
I think sometimes singing a first verse, especially a first verse versus the second verse, if the music, the words or the music doesn't change so much, which is not typical of this song, but in a lot of songs, music sometimes just doesn't change, just the way the song is.
Yeah, how well I know, right? we fought to make it interesting in a lot of these songs.
Right, and that's another thing, because some of the songs that we listened to in the 80s, that really, because they're automated, they pretty much took the first verse and copied it to the second verse and just, you just sung along. So you need something to distinguish the two. So I think putting it in harmony or changing the way, it should not ever sound the exact same way. I mean, you should not be able to take the second verse, switch it to the first verse, and say, okay, well, it's the same, I can't tell the difference. You should always be able to tell the difference between the first and the second. So harmony, changing the way it sounds a little bit, makes it really complete. And you know exactly which part of the song you're at when you're going.
I will say without hesitation that any song you listen to, on this album going forward, you will not find one verse exactly the same as the other. I will unequivocally 100% stand by that, because not only did I refuse to let that happen.
I can't really do that.
Well, no. Well, I'm just saying we didn't just say, because in the digital domain you can holistically take every single track that you had from line 44 to 87, which is your four measures of verse, and just plop it on behind the chorus.
Right.
And I mean, if the song is 25 minutes long and it's some kind of a techno dance song, I mean, things repeat.
Well, things right.
But when there's vocals involved,
it's a 4-minute song.
And it's a 4-minute song, right?
Not really that long.
You might not realize it, but the way you sing some words are easily picked out if it's heard again. All right, and that is something certainly to consider before you do your copy and paste, right?
Right.
So let's get through the. Should we get through the chorus? Yeah. Let's. What the hell? Let's do a long one today, and we've been. Okay, we'll get to that. Wait, we didn't do it correctly. Let's make sure we do that correctly.
Tell you how much I love those. I don't even know how they got there,
Oh, I know how they got there.
Okay, because I can't.
I was assaulted one night. And he's like, listen, you hear that beat? I'm like, yeah. Because I need like, I don't know, 85 of those to repeat. I'm like, well, let's start with 8. How about that?
It was something in my mind. I could hear it as it's going. I'm like, I need those there.
And it's so funny because when I, you know, I mean, that is basically just taking the B of Be Near Me and copying and pasting. There's a case
Well, you gotta
where
cut those up, right?
I chopped the hell out of it, right? Made a nice little package, and then B, right? In time, in tempo, which is fairly easy to do.
Okay.
But there's a case where there's no sense in you singing B every time.
Right. And
right? As a matter of fact, we want it to sound like a repeat.
Yeah, it should be a repeat. And also, I don't think I don't think I could ever do that. Where it would sound...
Probably
where it
not.
wouldn't sound like it was like... Even if you quantize it, some part of it would be lower than the other. This is supposed to be
buried enough
exactly
in there?
the same. Yeah, buried. But in my ears, I can hear it. So it has to be exactly the same all the way going through, same time, inflection, everything.
Yep.
So that worked out.
And that, you know, that was a lot more subtle. I know it's probably harder to hear, you know, over this video, but when you listen to the real one, it was actually a lot more subtle than it was. And we cranked that up a lot.
Yes, because I needed to hear it.
He insisted on cranking. There was a case where I just, you know what, wasn't pros or cons. It was like, you know what, it's kind of cool. But repeats, you know, let's cover that real quick.
I think they're necessary.
In this genre or in general or...
Yeah, well, in this genre, yeah. I mean, I don't think many singers in this genre will sing the entire song all the way through. It's always going to be chopped and cut and things. And there's also the issue of somebody singing something really well, or not necessarily really well. It just happens to work very, very well over a particular part of the song that when you hear it, you're like, oh. So you take that and you place it in different parts of the song because the effect of the song just works in different spots.
Right.
So I think in this case we did that too. For instance, the chorus. I don't think I sang I think I did the chorus, and for the most part did the chorus, and we copied it from the first chorus to the second chorus, while adding on the second chorus I was able to sing it again. But that underlying track needed to be the same because it should be. It should be recognizable, and it should not be a change. My vocal inflections shouldn't take away from the fact that it's a chorus and nothing else. Yeah. So you know, you don't want to get up and sing a chorus and not be able to sing it the exact same way the first chorus is, because it's got to be some sort of a consistency between the two.
I know. I mean, you know, when you start to, I always like in listening to music when you've learned how to play it or sing it, like becoming an astronomer, looking at the stars, right? You once you look at the stars, you're not an astronomer. It's just stars that are pretty. Wow, look at that. And then when you become an astronomer, you're like, you know what all the constellations are. You pick it out. You can never look at them just as a star, you know, a sky full of stars.
Exactly.
You know it, and it's the same with music. It's like I can't listen to music anymore without hearing stuff like that, right?
And for me, it's the same thing. When it comes to people singing, I mean, it's not so much the music. Because to me, music is always perfect. Whereas for you, I'm sure that you'll hear a song and you're like, they didn't do this, or they did this, or they do this. For me, it's the same thing with vocals. When I hear a singer singing, and I gravitate towards the electronic side of music. So if it's something that's repeated, or if it's something that's copied, and I can pick it out, man, I'm happy. So you know, if I can pick a singer singing something that they did or they sung once and they copied it 4 times. I love that. So it's
like finding a little
it's so great to me. I'm like, oh, they didn't even sing that. They did it again.
Nah, you're cheating.
I love it. So
she was in the studio for 12 minutes, right? You know, and then just chopped it up.
So this is exactly what we did here. I did, you know,
and there's no harm in that, right? As a matter of fact, I think when we get to the end, I believe there's an example where we just copied and pasted a couple of things that you sang.
Right.
And, you know, at that point, it's an outtake, right? And we'll talk about that. But so last thing, I know this is going a little long, but hey, what the hell, right? So here comes a point of contention in the song that Billy had. It was right after the first chorus, and this is a concept I call letting a song breathe, right? So what that means is a space where there's no vocals, no really identifiable reason it should be there except for to fill some space.
And I think I wanted to...
You wanted it.
Oh, right.
I didn't want it.
Okay.
Now, which is weird because
most times
right. As a matter of fact, I listen to a lot of blues, right?
Okay.
And letting it simmer is generally what we call it in blues, right? And that basically means, like after the first chorus, if there's no solo or anything, it's just kind of the underlying music. It sits there and then something else kicks in. It could be a pre-chorus, it could be another verse. Okay. In that case, right here, and I'll let you hear it. We decided that, under duress, I let this one go.
Yeah, I think it was a battle.
I think, because I felt like the song was too long. I mean, how long was the song? 4 minutes and 50 seconds. So, it's not that long.
Well, to your point,
yeah.
Had this had been a regular pop song, it would have been way too long.
It would have been too long,
Because
right.
pop songs should generally be, a single. In my mind, should generally be about 3 minutes or so, three, almost 4 minutes.
Yeah.
You can get away with. Certainly not 5 minutes.
Right, right.
It becomes too long for some sort of radio play.
Yeah. And
they would end up cutting it anyway. So throwing that
little, yeah, I mean, this is the segment we're talking about. Let's play it off. And I think the end of the first chorus.
We're talking about this, right?
That was from the beginning. Now, it actually wasn't a full verse. It was a half
verse. But I think you wanted to come in.
Yeah. I wanted that to come in. Okay, so let's not talk over that. I want to cover that in the next round, right?
Okay.
But that little breathing room, actually, after listening to it for a while, I think it worked perfectly.
Well, I thought that the reason why I didn't want to go into the song was, one, I wanted it to breathe, I guess.
Yeah.
But to give you a little bit of time to react to what you just heard.
Take a swig of your drink when you're on the bathroom, right?
Go to the bathroom.
Well, I don't know if you're a guy, maybe you can squeeze it out in like 2 seconds. 30 seconds, right? Whatever it was.
But I think you just need that time of the song getting back to normal. I don't know if it's normal, but maybe just getting back to a.
But you know what's interesting about it is, since this is the third verse, it is fundamentally different than the first and the second one because he started doing harmonies. When in this case, it makes a lot of sense to say you're building some tension. You're kind of saying, "Hey, wow, I know there's something coming. It's probably another verse, right? If you're thinking mechanically,
right?
But then he hits you with these cool harmonies, which we're going to talk about next time.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that. So glad you're with us.
Thank you for coming. And
what do you got for us? Come on, give me the list.
Oh gosh,
here it comes.
We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and there's something. Oh, and I have a webpage somewhere in there too. Everything will be listed underneath it because I cannot list it anymore. Eventually, I'll be able to, but right now I'm just coming back from vacation, tired.
See you next week.
See you next week.